I've got this article for you here today. It's 5 decluttering tips, easy decluttering tips you can apply to every space this winter. It's by Rebecca Jones in Southern Living. There are sure signs when fall is upon us, even if the weather is still a bit warm in the South. From outings like tailgating and attending football games to staying in and decorating our homes, this season is all about enjoying the great outdoors and visiting with family and friends. And that's especially true as we go into winter and the holiday season and Thanksgiving and Christmas and the weather's getting cold. We're spending more time indoors. And as we spend more time indoors, we actually have a higher propensity for more clutter in our lives because we are in these spaces and we bring things home and then they just have these temporary homes that end up becoming their permanent home because we don't think much about it. And so in this article, there are these 5 different steps. I want to see if you agree with them, disagree with them. Maybe we can expand on them a bit. And so you can do this in the fall. You can do it in the winter. This is ideal for any season. The first one is make a plan. That is the first of the 5 easy decluttering tips. Having a small plan or framework in place can work wonders before beginning any project. I will say I can agree with this. It depends on what kind of person you are. I'm a planner for sure. And I would say, though, that quite often planning is a fancy word or a virtuous word for procrastination.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about that.
You are so right, because plan is something that's easy to build up myths around until it becomes a monster that's too big for you to conquer. Oh, I don't have time to plan. Why are you in this situation you're in now? Because you feel like you don't have time. Well, if I tell you you got to come up with the plan, I haven't chipped away at your to-do list. I've just placed another thing on a to-do list. And if your to-do list was overwhelming to begin with, it's now even more overwhelming. As an alternative to make a plan, which is really just a semantic variation of the same thing, I would say just define what it means to be done. That way, you know when you get to stop. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, which is a type of plan where you're seeing your outcome. Because I think that's the thing, especially when we're starting to declutter. I know with my own house, when I first started simplifying my life after my mother died, it was overwhelming. I just sort of threw my hands up. I can't do this. Why? Because I didn't know what the outcome was. So that's one thing that's so overwhelming. Or 2, maybe the outcome is so overwhelming when you say, I want to get rid of 90% of my stuff. Oh, that's going to be impossible. I want to clean out the entire garage. Oh, man, I have to do it this weekend. I want to do something else. And so it feels so overwhelming. So sometimes what is your outcome is useful. Like, what is the next outcome? What is the stepping stone that leads me? What's the milestone that leads me closer to the ideal outcome that I want to be at? The next easy decluttering tip is choose one area a day. Looking at the project overall can become overwhelming fast. Yeah, we just talk about the overwhelm. By focusing on one area a day, the task of decluttering or organizing can be broken up into bite-sized, attainable goals. Making a list of the problem areas can help. Then start small. I say, yes, start small, but start in the areas that will give you the most benefit as well. Quite often we go to the garage or we go to the attic, we go to the basement, or you want to go to the storage locker. And it's like, imagine go declutter a storage locker that has been accumulating stuff for a decade. You'll do that and you'll spend hours and hours and hours, and then you'll never see the result because it's all buried away in this mausoleum of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But if you start in the living room, which is where you spend your mornings, or maybe the dining room table, and you're clearing off the dining room table. Or if you start with your bedroom because you want a calm setting before you go to bed at night. These are the areas you spend the most time in. What about your kitchen? You're in your kitchen every day cooking and cleaning, wiping down the counters. Aren't the counters so much easier to wipe down if they're free of all the excess kitchen gadgets and utensils and bread makers that you use once a year and blenders and all these things that you're using occasionally? What if we put those things in a cabinet, get them out of the way? Or what if we get rid of them altogether? We use something like the seasonality rule. We also call it the 90-90 rule.
Yeah.
Have I used this blender in the last 90 days? No. But will I use it in the next 90 days? I got to be honest with myself. No, I don't make smoothies anymore. Okay, well, I can give myself permission to let it go. Or maybe it inspires me of, yes, I need to start using this. And if I don't start using it, I'm going to let go of it in 90 days. That's one of the 16 rules for living with less. You can find that in the Minimalist Rule Book. Just link is on our website, theminimalists.com/rulebook. Number 3. Think about next season. By aligning your organizing efforts with seasonal transition, your home works with you, not against you. So although the fall or winter season is here, the following season's right around the corner. So if that's the holiday season, and then we're thinking about spring, we're thinking about what is the next season. And in doing that, we're thinking about the next season's decor as well. The article goes on to say, sort and declutter bins before the season begins. So you're only bringing out what you truly get value from, right? And so I think that's nice. If you are the type of person who puts up tons of Christmas decorations, then I say, hell yeah. You can be a minimalist and still put up all those decorations and really, really enjoy it. But why not declutter beforehand? So you're not trying to sort through it when the time comes. It's like, it's Christmas. I don't know what ornaments I want. I don't like all of these. I still have this box of old lights. And you know what? These are from our old place, but they don't really fit here. And the stockings that used to go on the mantle, we don't have a mantle anymore. But I'll hold on to it. Why? Just in case. That's another rule we have, the just in case rule. I can replace any of my just in case items for less than 20 minutes and less than $20. And that allows me to let go of any of these things I've been holding on to just in case. I know you do that you're definitely a Christmas season sort of guy.
100%. The best thing about Christmas decorations, great idea for all of you, is you can just morph that into whatever the next holiday is, right? So you can have a Christmas Valentine's Day, a Christmas Halloween. Anyway, I saw my neighbor the other day doing some cleaning. I says, "Are you moving?" And he says, "No, just spring cleaning." But I tell you, when you have to clean this stuff up, it makes you think about why you brought it in the first place. And I think what's good about this step is it's just saying, think about the exit strategy before you allow that stuff to enter your home. Before you pull the stuff out of the boxes and put it up, just think for a brief moment about what that process is going to feel like to take it back down, and make sure that's one that's compatible with how you want to feel.
Right, because the thing that accompanies what is my outcome here is like, what is the feeling that I want from that outcome?
That's right.
And usually when it comes to getting rid of this excess stuff, it's I want to feel calm. Or maybe I want to remove a feeling, that low-level anxiety that is preventing the innate calm that is already there. The peace is there, but it's covered up with all of these anxiety-producing, crazy-making things that I've been holding on to from season to season. I also love that your neighbor said, we're in the fall right now, winter's right around the corner, and what were they doing? Spring cleaning.
Yeah.
So they're either doing it really late or really early. It's never too late, and it's never too early to do a little bit of spring cleaning. Number 4, this is my favorite of the tips, TK. Set a timer. Time blocking is a great way to initiate a task and ensure completion. So I do this, I am a time maximalist. I know I'm a bit monochronic. I have timers all over my house for little tasks that I do, especially things I don't want to do, like little chores. I turn it into a game, so it's at least a little bit more playful. I do this with my daughter as well because she loves to take really long showers. And so we let her take a long shower still, but we set the timer at 15 minutes so she knows it's time to wrap it up. And because otherwise she'll be in there for an hour and a half. Like she'll just stay in, she just loses track of time. She's polychronic. And these timers just help keep on task because there's something else that we want to do. And with the decluttering efforts, you're not decluttering just for the sake of decluttering. Decluttering is kind of boring. It's not fun, but you're doing it to make space for something else. And so I don't want to spend all day doing a thing that's going to take me 15 minutes, but it also makes me realize, what if I can do this in less than 15 minutes? I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes, but let's try to get it done in 12. Or every night, we have something called the setting the stage rule. We set a timer for 5 minutes and we set the stage in our house at the end of the day, so we're waking up to a calmer house. So does Ella have a few toys that are out? Was there a pair of shoes that are over here? Is there a throw blanket here? Is there a pillow here that needs to be moved back to its place? Were we moving some things onto the floor like a meditation cushion? everything has a home, and during the day, things get disjointed. And so we set a timer for 5 minutes. We set the stage. We put all the dishes away and clear it out so the next morning I'm not trying to do chores first thing in the morning. I can get up, make my cup of coffee. I can stretch. I can read in peace and calm because I planned for it the night before. And it took me 5 minutes. It's not like this overwhelming task. Finally, appreciate the finish line. Acknowledging the work that has gone into a project, however large or small the efforts, is essential for gaining momentum for the next steps and projects that follow. I think that's a good point, TK. Quite often we'll just move on to the next thing. All right, that's done. What's next? Without just taking a moment to celebrate or acknowledge and say, oh, wow, great job. And how does this feel? Doesn't this feel great? Why didn't I do this sooner? That's a type of celebration too, by the way. Why didn't I do this sooner? Because what does it do? It shows you like, oh yeah, there's some other things I've been putting off. That stack of mail that's over there on the counter. Or those books I've been meaning to donate for 3 months. Or all those things I wanted to take to the Goodwill, but they've just been sitting in that garbage bag in my trunk for 6 weeks. It's like, you know what? How long would it actually take for me to do that? Maybe I could set the timer and then I can appreciate it by saying, oh, wow, yes, I'm so glad I did that. I feel calmer. Why didn't I do that sooner?
Yeah. One of the ways my wife and I celebrate the finish line is we always set a plan that we can look forward to for when we're done. Hey, when we're finished with this should only take about 20 minutes. When we're finished, let's take a walk. When we're finished, let's watch a movie. And we agree on that, and we've got something to look forward to, and it feels like a reward without even stopping to say, yay, we did it, because it's like, oh, we get to do this thing that we look forward to doing. A second thing about the finish line is actually finish. That's part of the celebration. Actually finish. It builds trust with yourself and other people that you work with. If you say, hey, we're going to do this for 20 minutes, and then you get to the 20th minute, you actually stop versus being like, well, let's keep going for like another 10, 15 minutes. You can get away with that every once in a while, but you start to lose trust and you start to miss out on the point of having a deadline or having a definition of what it means to be done, because it's to-do lists are never done. The stopping points are always arbitrary. There's always something that you can be doing. And so you got to take that finish line seriously. It's sort of like, you have a job and your boss is always throwing stuff. Hey, the boys are going golfing and you don't want to golf. And the rule is technically you don't have to, but that doesn't mean anything. You know that you have to, right? You're not going to technically get fired, but you probably won't get the promotion,
right?
And so once that ambiguity sets in, that ambiguity does what? It breeds anxiety, as Jason Fried. And that ambiguity breeds anxiety and it makes everything more complicated and you don't look forward to things. So just define what it means to be done. Celebrate that finish line by actually giving yourself permission to finish and come back another day.
Yeah, and make that finish line attainable so that it's not so much drudgery that by the time you get there, you're like, I never want to do that again. It doesn't feel like a reward if the whole thing felt like a punishment all the way through. And I think it's also important to not celebrate in advance, right? You can enjoy the thing you're doing, but if you're going with that reward that you and your wife have, if I do that with my daughter, she's like, oh, but can't I just watch the video first and then I'll make my bed? It's like, no. You can watch the video once you've made your bed. That's the whole point, because I know what's going to happen. You're going to watch the video and you're going to complain that you have to make your bed. Now she doesn't even ask me anymore. She knows first thing when she gets up in the morning, she just makes the bed so that she can have whatever reward that she's looking forward to. It's a necessary habit at this point that she has formed.
Thanks for watching this highlight. If you'd like to check out another one, you can watch this clip here. Or if you'd like to watch the full episode for this highlight clip, you can check out this one here. Or you can dive into the full private podcast by subscribing via the Patreon link in the description for this video. Your Patreon support is what helps keep this podcast 100% advertisement free.